Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? I am so happy to be filming today because I got something in the mail that I have been tracking the stocking for. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited I can't speak. I was stalking the tracking and it's finally here. I knew I had to film with it right away. This is the Plain Jane palette from Adept Cosmetics. And before I even show you the inside, I feel like I have a little story because this palette, originally when I saw the sneak peeks for it, I was like, yes, I'm sold. I love it. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't need it because I still have some shadows from Adept that I haven't even used yet. And I decided to skip on it. I just wasn't thinking about it that much. It was like very just like whatever in my head. And then I kept seeing amazing review after amazing review, so many people hyping this palette up, and I was feeling some very intense regret, but I was like, it's fine. It's fine. I don't need all the eyeshadow palettes. But then I ended up having a small conversation with Day from Legally Black Beauty. She posted about how this was the best palette of 2020, and I was like, I shouldn't have read this. Now I'm tempted to buy it. And she was like, I think you should buy it. So I went on the website and I was gonna buy it, and there was a pre-order, but the pre-order was sold out, and I was super bummed. I was like, wow, I finally had the moment of weakness that I was gonna purchase this. So I messaged Adept just asking when it was going to be back in stock, fully planning on purchasing it myself, and they offered to send me one. So I am super grateful because I have just been dying to try this palette out, get it in my hands. I just couldn't resist the hype any longer. So thank you, Adept, for sending this over to me. It was completely unexpected for them to offer, but it is so beautiful. Do you guys see that? Like, I just want to stare at it. Like the shades in here, this shade, this shade, this shade, this shade, this shade, and this shade, and this shade. And actually all of them are just so beautiful. So I'm just very intrigued to swatch this palette out, do a look, see how I feel. Maybe I might do a 3 looks 1 palette with this because there's just so many beautiful options. And then I also pulled out the Viseart Violet Attendu palette because this recently released. I did a first impression on it. I was not impressed with these shimmers in here. I think I said something along the lines of this being a palette I could see going back into for the mattes because the mattes blended pretty well overall. I thought this was the perfect opportunity to pull this palette back out, get some more use out of the mattes, and then bring in some really special shimmers that will amp it up because the shimmers in here, in my opinion, are very lackluster and disappointing. But before we put anything on my eyelids, let's go ahead and swatch this first because I'm not even sure what exactly I want to do today. Okay, so first we have the shade AC1, which this feels very soft, very metallic. This looks like a duochrome that goes from like this burnt, muted red to like a yellowy orange, maybe even the tiniest little bit of like a yellowy green background to it. It looks really cool, very like fall. And then we have the shade ACI2. I think I'm just gonna say 3, 4, 5 for each of these because saying ACI is a little bit repetitive, but this shade looks really beautiful. Again, it feels very, very smooth and metallic. It feels a little different than I would imagine just looking at the pans because they look super textured and sparkly, but it's actually very, very smooth, and that's a really beautiful kind of neutral brownie base with like a light greeny, bluey kind of shift. Lots going on there, super pretty. And then the shade 3 here looks like a really beautiful kind of pinky golden shade. Also, don't mind my nails. I know they're not chipped or anything, but I used a new overcoat and I literally hate it, but I don't have the motivation to redo my nails. So those look really, really pretty, and they look like more soft options. I like this one because it's like a rose gold with a golden shift through it. This one looks more like a soft multi-chrome, and these two are more sparkly. When I'm done filming, we'll eat, okay?
Maybe ice cream.
Probably not ice cream. Okay, next we have the shade 4, which looks like a really beautiful purple. That one feels super, super creamy. It has like a little tiny bit of like a golden sparkle going on. The shade 5, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful sparkly duochrome. That goes from like green to pink. I don't even know if you can see that, but that's actually really unique. I was not expecting that. And then we have the shade 6, which this one looks like the star of the show. Like, it's such a beautiful blue, purple, pink, oh, just deliciousness. So pretty. Okay, that one actually is looking a little bit more iridescent than I imagined. Let me see. Yeah, it's a little bit lighter than I was thinking it's gonna be, but that's really pretty. Okay, so I'm really excited for this shade right here, number 7, because it looks like a beautiful, like purple green duochrome. I don't even think you guys can see the purple right now, but it's very, very shifty. Number 8, ooh, that's so beautiful as well. Another purple blue shifting shade, stunning. Number 9, okay, kind of reminds me of Divina Asteria, which is one of my favorite single shadows of all time, where it has like a red base and then a green shift. The red base on this is a little bit more muted, a little bit softer, so I don't think they would be exact dupes, but it's a very similar vibe. This is definitely a way softer shade than Asteria, but it's like a muted version of the same kind of shift, if that makes sense. So far, feeling very happy. Okay, last but not least, for shade 10, it just looks like a very soft, like white to pink duochrome. I mean, I guess there's a little bit of a gold shift going on too, depending on the light. That one is the only one so far that feels a little bit more chunky. All the other ones felt pretty smooth. And then we have the shade 11, which again feels so smooth. They almost feel wet in the pan, but that shade, another stunning purple, blue, pink, shifty shadow. And then last but not least, shade 12. Ooh, okay. That's like a hot pink with an orange base. It actually reminds me of a shade that I recently tried in my first impression for Brnovich. I hope I'm saying that right. I have to double check the pronunciation. But they are a indie brand based out of Belarus that I did a first impression on recently, and they had a shade very similar to that, and I was like, wow, this is so unique. But this one's actually pretty similar. This one might even be a little bit more pigmented, but it has that same kind of like pink to orange shift, although this orange is a little bit more coral. I feel like if you love purples, blues, and pinks, there's a lot of options here and like a few neutrals and like the 2 greens mixed in. These all swatch really beautifully, and they're actually kind of reminding me of something a little bit, so I thought I'd mention it. I have it right here on hand. The Tokyo palette from Nomad Cosmetics has some really stunning like multi-chrome, duochrome type shadows on the bottom row that are all pretty creamy and just super reflective, and I feel like this palette is kind of giving me the same vibes as far as formula goes and like super special, shifty, beautiful, sparkly shades. How many adjectives can I use? So I feel like if you like these, you might like these as well, but obviously I have to test them out, see how they wear, see how they apply, all that good stuff, but they look really pretty. I think I planned out a look where I'll be able to use 5 different shades in the Plain Jane palette, but starting off with some mattes, I'm gonna use this light purple right here first. Just gonna throw that through my crease, build it up a little bit because I do want to have a pretty intense look. I'm going to go ahead and take this matte purple and I'm just going to put that all the way through my crease just to brighten this up a little bit. I'm going to go in with some more of the lighter purple over top to help it blend. I'm also going to go into the deepest purple in the palette. It's kind of like an eggplant plummy shade, and I'm going to pop that on my outer V. And then probably going to take a little tiny bit to connect the lower lash line, but I'm not going to take it far because I want to leave room for lots of shimmers down there. Okay, so now is where the fun begins. I think I'm going to go ahead and test this out a little bit further by just using my NYX glitter primer on one eye. On the other eye, I'm not going to, and I'm going to pay attention throughout the day and see how they wear, and I'll make sure to leave that info in the description box. So I think for my lid, I want to take the shade 6 first on like the inner half, and then on the outer half, I'm going to take the shade 11. I just couldn't decide between the two and only do one. So let's start off with 6. Okay, so I'm just taking that on my finger. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's beautiful. And that's no glitter primer. Holy crap. I got like 1 speck of fallout. Okay, maybe 3. 3 specks of fallout, but overall, it stuck really well, and I think it's because it is so like wet and creamy to the touch. Wow. Okay, now just going in with my NYX glitter primer. I'm gonna start that off on the inner part of the lid. Bring it all the way through. Okay. Honestly, I feel like it looks pretty much the exact same. Right now I'm gonna dip into the shade 11, putting that on the outer half. Oh wow. Oh, that is so pretty. I can't believe that I possibly slept on like the best release of 2020. I need a moment. Okay, so now going in on with 11 on this side. Again, no glitter primer over here. Just tapping it in. I'm like trying to see a difference, but I really don't. I feel like it looks pretty much the same regardless of glitter primer. For the lower lash line, I think I'm gonna start off with the shade 12. Okay, using it with a brush, it definitely like makes a huge indent in the pan just because of how creamy it is. You see that? Like it looks like I used that shadow like 1,200 times and I just dipped into it once. But I'm gonna go ahead and put that along like the middle of my lower lash line, just kind of buffing it out a little bit. So I do see the sparkles and everything. It's just not as special on the lower lash line. I'm also wondering if maybe these are just better off being applied with the fingers and they don't do as well with brushes. It's not doing bad. I'm just having to build it up a little bit. Part of me wants to go in with the shade 4 on the rest of the lower lash line because that's such a beautiful purple. But then also the shade 3 was that kind of really beautiful like pinky golden shade. So maybe that would make more sense. Maybe I'll go in with the shade 3. Okay, that one is picking up really, really well with the brush and it's not making an indent barely at all. So just gonna go ahead and pop it right here. Oh, so sparkly. Ooh, that's pretty. I think if you're a neutral lover, that shade all over the lid with any like neutrals in your crease would be stunning. One of my favorite ways to wear neutrals is to take a look that's kind of more soft, could possibly be interpreted as boring, and make it not boring by having a very, very intense shimmer. So I think that one would be perfect. But yes, okay, impressed, impressed. Now for the inner corner, I'm going to dip into the shade 10. Just gonna pop that right here. Ooh, yeah. The pink reflect on that is really nice. I think from swatching that one, it's a little bit too chunky for me to use as a highlight on my face, but it's a really beautiful inner corner color. All right, so on the other eye, I'm just gonna wipe my brush off really quickly, and I'm gonna go into some more glitter primer. Just popping a little bit right here, and going in with the same shade. Okay. Okay, it might be a little bit more intense on this side, and it kind of looks funny because I didn't blend the glitter primer all the way. But overall, I feel like there's just not that much of a difference, so I'm really curious to see how it wears and everything like that. So I'm going to finish off this look with some mascara. What liner should I do? I think I'm going to do the powder blue liner from LA Girl just to bring out the blue reflect a little bit more, throw that in the waterline, and I'll be right back. I think this might be the prettiest eye look I've ever done. I'm going to finish off really quickly with the Dawn Face Palette from Midas Cosmetics. I actually used the contour as my bronzer today. I used the blush, so I'm going to go ahead and just grab a little bit of this highlight. For lips, I'm just going to go into the Rare Beauty Glossy Lip Balm in the shade Nearly Neutral. This is the finished look. You obviously can already tell that I love how this turned out. I'm obsessed with how these shadows look right now. If these wear well, I think this is going to be a new favorite palette for me. Like, I'm so happy / regretful that I didn't buy it the moment it launched, because I'm honestly just shook to the core. I cannot wait to play with the rest of these. They feel like truly special shadows. I definitely want to film a 3 looks 1 palette with this. I think I'm going to start filming that tonight or tomorrow and just get it up as soon as possible, because I can't wait to use this more. I feel like my words are just running in circles, because everything that I'm basically saying is the exact same thing, which is that I'm so impressed with this palette. I don't want to keep going on and on, but I'd love to know if you have tried this, what your thoughts were, if it worked for you, if you have oily lids, dry lids, whatever the case may be. So that is everything for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.